With one of the most accessible price ranges in the segment, impressive practicality, and high reliability ratings, the Subaru Crosstrek positions itself as one of the best compact crossovers you can buy for your money these days. Despite the fact that it gets a lot right in all aspects, especially in terms of utility, there are certain areas where Subaru's smallest vehicle leaves something to be desired. Stick with us to learn about 8 reasons why the Subaru Crosstrek might not be the best choice for you. Reason 8. Insufficient performance. At the moment, this compact crossover offers 2 powertrains from Subaru, so to speak. The base 4-cylinder engine with a displacement of 2 liters and output of 152 horsepower, and the optional horizontally opposed 4-cylinder engine with a displacement of 2.5 liters and output of 182 horsepower. As you might already guess, neither of them is geared toward performance, and while they get the job done, they won't deliver any thrilling sensations even to the most undemanding drivers. Worse yet, the base engine might leave you wanting more in many ways. It takes nearly 10 seconds to accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour, which seriously limits the Crosstrek's capabilities on the highway. The optional engine, which requires 8 seconds or more, isn't much better either. The weak acceleration of both engines is exacerbated by the mandatory continuously variable transmission, CVT. Although it has become more refined than it was a few years ago and is capable of simulating 8 gears, the CVT remains a boring choice for a transmission. Combined with the uninspiring engines, the Subaru Crosstrek won't impress with athleticism and driving dynamics. While this was to be expected from a crossover weighing 1,600 kilograms, it does stand out on suburban and city streets, as well as off-road. Subaru's signature all-wheel drive system with nearly 9 inches of ground clearance handles those tasks much better than any comparable competitor. Reason 7. Absence of a manual transmission. Indeed, there aren't many modern crossovers with a manual transmission left, and Subaru's commitment to the CVT started quite a while ago. However, until recently, the Crosstrek was still offered with a 6-speed manual transmission up until the previous generation models, which were discontinued at the end of 2023 to be precise. That said, the way Subaru handled the manual transmission models makes us think that dropping it was the right decision. The CVT provided better fuel economy and offered several significant improvements over the manual. In particular, manual transmission models came without some advanced driver assistance features, such as automatic emergency braking. Reason 6. Absence of a hybrid model. The slow-selling Crosstrek hybrid was quietly discontinued, and the current lineup does without battery-powered models. Beyond a significant drop in the overall fuel economy rating, the lack of a hybrid option forces many potential buyers to look for a suitable model elsewhere. However, Subaru has developed plans to expand that very hybrid lineup it recently abandoned. As Automotive News reports, the company plans to bring several new hybrids and electric vehicles to market, which will be developed in partnership with Toyota. Although most of Subaru's future battery-powered models will be electric vehicles, the first 2 to arrive will be hybrids, the Forester and the Crosstrek. That said, production of the next-generation Subaru hybrids won't begin any earlier than 2026, leaving potential buyers seeking a fuel-efficient crossover without a suitable choice in the current Subaru lineup. Although the situation could change dramatically in a couple of years, if you prefer hybrids, Subaru can't meet your needs right now. Fuel economy has always been one of Subaru's main focuses. But aside from introducing and refining the CVT, the Japanese company hasn't achieved any particular breakthroughs in this area, which is yet another reason to avoid the Crosstrek, at least for the time being. Reason 5. Fuel economy. The Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, rates the base Subaru Crosstrek at 8 7/10 liters per 100 kilometers in the city and 6 9/10 liters per 100 kilometers on the highway, while the combined figure comes in at 8 1/10 liters per 100 kilometers. This isn't the worst rating in the highly competitive compact crossover segment, especially considering the Crosstrek's standard all-wheel drive, but there are far more efficient alternatives out there. The segment is densely packed with hybrids, among which the RAV4 is probably the most well-known example, with a combined rating of around 5 9/10 liters per 100 kilometers. Until the Crosstrek hybrid returns, Subaru won't be able to compete with the most efficient models in its segment, especially since things get worse with the optional 2.5-liter engine, which drops the base 2-liter engine's fuel economy figures by about 1 unit, bringing them to 9 liters per 100 kilometers in the city and 7 1/10 liters per 100 kilometers on the highway. Reason 4. Unattractive exterior design. It's safe to say that Subaru vehicles, especially crossovers, aren't leaders when it comes to design quality. The overall wagon-like shape, combined with bulky and pronounced plastic cladding and some questionable decisions in the front and rear styling, turns the Subaru Crosstrek into a model with an acquired taste when it comes to its exterior looks. That's the best we can say. This situation gets particularly worse in the off-road oriented wilderness models, which, despite their solid off-road credentials, add even more unappealing elements to an already polarizing design. Even more massive plastic cladding, questionable bronze trim accents, and all-terrain tires that not only look out of place on a family crossover, but also further hurt fuel economy. All of this is part of the Crosstrek Wilderness's awkward appearance. Reason 3. Questionable interior quality. The Subaru Crosstrek can boast one of the most functional interiors in its niche, but all that extra space might not mean much to some potential buyers who value quality and refinement above all else. The plastic in the Subaru interior is durable and functional, but it hardly goes beyond the basics. Plastic in various shades of dark gray and black isn't uncommon in affordable cars, but the lack of variety in the entry-level models is especially noticeable in hard-to-reach spots. The situation doesn't improve much with the feature set either. Base Subaru Crosstreks truly live up to their name, as they're missing desirable options like the new 11 6/10" vertically oriented touchscreen display or even standard roof rails. Reason 2. Less cargo space than expected. Although the Subaru Crosstrek stands out as one of the most practical vehicles in its class, it offers less cargo space than some of its main competitors, at least in the standard configuration, where just 0.56 cubic meters of space is available behind the rear seats. Fold down the rear seats, and the cargo volume increases to 1.55 cubic meters, which is more in line with Subaru's philosophy and closer to what you'd expect from one of their best-selling models. Reason 1. Questionable value for money. Starting at $25,100 before mandatory destination fees, the Crosstrek isn't just Subaru's most affordable crossover. It's one of the cheapest options in its highly competitive segment. On top of that, it offers free all-wheel drive, which is a bit of a bonus. Despite being cheaper than most competitors, the base Crosstrek leaves something to be desired in other areas. Beyond coming equipped with only the base engine with insufficient power, Subaru also limits access to several key features for buyers opting for the most affordable trim. Some advanced electronic safety features, such as blind spot monitoring and rear cross-traffic braking, aren't available, nor are modern infotainment perks like wireless phone charging. The latter only becomes available in sport models, which sit third in the lineup and start at $29,100. Those models might represent the best value proposition for the Crosstrek, but for that money, Subaru opens up other avenues to explore, since larger models like the Forester and Outback cost about the same or around there. Meanwhile, nearly fully loaded limited models will set you back at least $31,900, and the off-road oriented wilderness model will cost $1,100 more. The emphasis here is on nearly fully loaded, since Subaru still doesn't include a panoramic sunroof or the premium Harman Kardon audio system even in the most expensive Crosstrek version. That pleasure will cost an additional $1,795. For the reasons described, the Subaru Crosstrek might not satisfy everyone's needs, at least not in all of its forms. This is a compact crossover that emphasizes practicality over performance and tries to strike a balance between a comfortable and modern cabin without a significant price hike. Whether this endeavor succeeds or fails will ultimately be determined by the Crosstrek's sales figures. At the moment, we'd like to see significant improvements in key areas like fuel economy and performance. Subaru is certainly aiming for that, but the changes won't happen fast enough. Unfortunately, they also won't arrive any earlier than 2026, and even that's up in the air. We still know nothing about the future Crosstrek hybrid's fuel economy and even less about its performance, though we expect the fuel economy to improve significantly. Performance, on the other hand, might even be worse than it is now. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next review.